Yeah, our past is who we are. It doesn't have to define you. If you have a bad past, you can make up for it. You know, everybody's interested in where they came from. For years, rumors have surrounded Linda Ronstadt's personal life, especially regarding her decision to never marry, leaving fans wondering why she's chosen to stay single. Speculations have ranged from career priorities to personal struggles. But now she's finally opening up. Linda admits the truth behind her decision, and the reason has left everyone shaken. What's the real story behind her choice? Join us as we dive into the surprising details of Linda Ronstadt's long-awaited confession. Early life. Linda Maria Ronstadt was born in Tucson, Arizona on July 15, 1946. As the second child among 4 siblings, her father, Gilbert Ronstadt, was a prosperous businessman who ran a company selling heavy equipment. Her mother, Ruth Mary Ronstadt, was responsible for looking after the household. Linda was brought up in a Roman Catholic environment on a ranch in Tucson, spanning 10 acres, with her brothers and sisters, Peter, Michael, and Gretchen. Their family story even made it into Family Circle magazine. In 1953, the Ronstadt family had strong connections to Arizona. Linda's father was part of a family that had a mix of Mexican and German ancestry. Her great-grandfather was from Germany, but later relocated to Mexico before making his home in Tucson. Throughout time, the Ronstadt family gained recognition for their impact on Arizona's past, specifically in the fields of business wagon construction and music. Linda's grandfather was also influential in the growth of the city. In 1991, he was recognized by the city of Tucson for his work in improving transportation in the area. Ruth Mary was brought up in Flint, Michigan, and had a family background of German, English, and Dutch descent. Her mother's father, Lloyd Groff Copeman, was a renowned inventor with close to 700 patents. To his name, he was known for creating various useful inventions, such as the electric toaster refrigerator accessories, the grease gun, and the initial electric stove. He also dabbled in designing a model for the microwave oven. However, one of his most successful creations was the bendable rubber ice cube tray, which gained immense popularity and brought him substantial royalties. Raised in a household bursting with originality and inventiveness, Linda was immersed in a world of music and creativity. From an early age, these early experiences would play a pivotal role in molding her into a renowned singer in the music realm. Linda's knack for seamlessly transitioning between various musical genres, along with her deep-rooted cultural heritage, contributed to her standing out as a distinctive and esteemed artist. Linda Ronstadt's path from her humble beginnings in Tucson to achieving stardom was deeply influenced by her family's impressive legacy and successes despite being a star Linda. Ronstadt's life is filled with challenges that defined her career, triumphs and challenges Linda. Ronstadt's path in the music world was marked not only by great accomplishments, but also by obstacles, controversies, and daring moves that set her apart in American music history. Her knack for exploring different genres, and her courage to go against the grain in the industry, frequently garnered both admiration and backlash. Despite her undeniable vocal talent, her journey was characterized by surprising turns, significant rifts within the industry, and controversial choices that shaped her lasting impact. Linda Ronstadt rose to fame as the frontwoman of the Stone Ponies during the 1960s, showcasing her vocal skills with songs written by Mike Nesmith and Tim Buckley. Her ability to choose the right songs propelled her into stardom in the late 1970s, as she gained popularity as a pop singer, covering hits by Dave Edmunds. Elvis Costello, Chuck Berry, and Roy Orbison as her career progressed. She explored various genres, releasing albums that featured jazz classics, traditional Mexican tunes, and timeless country ballads, while studying at Arizona State University, Ronstadt. Met musician Bob Kimmel, and the two later moved to Los Angeles and LA. They teamed up with guitarist and songwriter Kenny Edwards, and together formed a group known as the Stone Ponies. The band gained recognition in the folk music community in California and dropped their first album, 1967. Their second album, Evergreen Vol. 2, featured the hit song Different Drum, written by Michael Nesmith. After releasing one more album with the Stone Ponies, Ronstadt made the choice to go solo in late 1968. Linda Ronstadt's initial solo albums, Hand-Sewn Homegrown and Silk Purse, emphasized her country roots with upbeat honky-tonk songs. But it was her self-titled third album in 1971 that signaled a shift in her musical direction, working with session musicians who would later form the Eagles. The album featured a more relaxed and mellow approach to the country rock sound. She was famous for, influenced by singer-songwriters such as Jackson Browne, Neil Young, and Eric Anderson Ronstadt. Also had connections to the folk rock movement, using a comparable method. Don't Cry, now rolled out in 1973, enjoyed even more triumph, although it was Hot Like a Wheel in 1974. That really established her fame, featuring popular remakes such as You're No Good, When Will I Be Loved, and It Doesn't Matter Anymore. The record rose to the top spot and surpassed 2 million in sales. Prisoner in Disguise. Introduced in the fall of 1975, continued the winning formula set by Heart Like a Wheel. Even as Ronstadt achieved more fame, she faced conflict within the music business. Many disapproved of her decision to sing other people's songs instead of creating her own, but she adamantly disagreed with this criticism. She argued that there was value in interpreting songs as an artist rather than solely focusing on writing original material. This disagreement with industry norms resulted in some individuals labeling her as just a cover artist. Despite her clear accomplishments during the 1970s, there was criticism of Ronstadt's changes in musical style. Her album Simple Dreams, 1977, departed from her usual country rock sound by incorporating a more rock-oriented band, revitalizing songs like Tumbling Dice and Poor Poor Pitiful Me. This record became her most successful, holding the #1 spot for 5 weeks and selling more than 3 million copies. Nonetheless, the introduction of the new wave style in Mad Love 1980 created a stir with 3 songs by Elvis Costello and a strong emphasis on synthesized music. The album received mixed reviews. Some critics commended her boldness in trying something new, while others accused her of merely following current trends instead of setting them. Although Mad Love was a commercial hit, it signaled a decline in the popularity of her traditional sound. This decline was further evident with Get Closer in 1982, which failed to reach platinum status, unlike her previous album, Heart Like a Wheel. A significant division within the industry arose when Ronstadt decided to try her hand in Broadway, seeking a new direction in her career. She took on a leading role in the theater adaptation of Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance, which was later adapted into a film. This decision was met with doubt by several individuals in the music world, who viewed it as an unwarranted digression from her usual route. Despite the doubts, the production turned out to be a hit, showcasing her talent across different genres. Besides pop and rock music, one of the biggest debates during Ronstadt's career happened in the two, when she expressed her political views openly, although she had always talked about social issues. Her endorsement of filmmaker Michael Moore's documentary Fahrenheit, 9th of November in 2004, caused a lot of controversy during a performance in Las Vegas. She dedicated a song to Moore and was asked to leave the venue. Some audience members left, while others showed their disapproval of her statements. This event sparked discussions about whether musicians should involve politics in their entertainment, causing a divide among her supporters in terms of music. Ronstadt experienced a decrease in popularity during the 1990s and early 2000s, even though albums like Winter, Light 1994, and Feels Like Home 1995 were not able to generate significant hit singles. She did explore children's music with Dedicated to the One I Love 1996, and later released We Ran 1998, both falling short of her previous commercial successes in 2010. Ronstadt worked together with the Chieftains on their San Patricio album, but the following year she declared that she was retiring due to health concerns. 3 years after stepping away from the music industry, she released her autobiography, Simple Dreams, a musical memoir. In its pages, she opened up about her illustrious career and the personal struggles that ultimately led to her departure from the spotlight. A key factor in her decision was her battle with Parkinson's disease, a condition that made it impossible for her to continue performing, as she once had the memoir provided an intimate look at her life, from her early days in music to the challenges she faced later on as the new year began in 2014. She received one of the highest honors in the industry, an induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Though she could no longer perform, a special tribute was held in her honor, featuring a lineup of esteemed artists, including Emmylou Harris, Stevie Nicks, Bonnie Wright, Sheryl Crow, and Carrie Underwood. Coinciding with this recognition, Rhino Records released a compilation of her most memorable duets in the beginning of 2010. Ronstadt released Live in Hollywood, an album featuring a concert she performed in 1980 that was originally shown on HBO. Throughout her career, Linda Ronstadt experienced a captivating mix of victories and debates. She surprised many by venturing into various musical genres, which led to backlash from those in the music industry. Despite facing obstacles and internal conflicts, she continuously adapted and remained bold in her musical pursuits, solidifying her status as a key figure in the music world. Her impact is evident not just in her extensive body of work, but also in her courage to push boundaries and embrace challenges that others shy away from. However, this wasn't the only challenge. Ronstadt faced her outspoken nature, often sparked controversies that put her reputation at risk. The controversies, Linda Ronstadt's strong voice was always a notable attribute of hers. Whether it be in music or when voicing her opinions, she was never hesitant to speak up about causes she deeply cared for, even if it led to disagreements with others. A recent instance of this occurred when she publicly criticized Donald J. Trump shortly before his rally in Tucson, which was scheduled to take place at a venue honoring her. Ronstadt firmly believed in the importance of not remaining silent. In times of controversy, she expressed her lack of support for Trump before his visit to Tucson, highlighting her disapproval of his policies, especially those that caused migrant families to be separated at the border. She also brought up the intimate misconduct accusations and felony convictions against him. Her strong and uncompromising statement garnered national attention and made front-page news. She didn't end at that point. She also aimed a criticism at Senator J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate, who had belittled women without biological children before as a single mother of 2 adopted children and a proud owner of a cat. She questioned his viewpoint, resolutely standing by her own beliefs. Throughout her professional journey, Ronstadt frequently voiced her dissent towards government officials and their policies. She was known for being outspoken about societal concerns, which sometimes caused disagreements with her supporters and peers in the industry. Despite facing both praise and backlash for her candor, She remained steadfast in standing up for her convictions in 2004. A notable moment in her career occurred when she publicly praised Michael Moore's documentary, Fahrenheit, 9th of November, while performing in Las Vegas. The documentary was critical of President George W. Bush and the Iraq War, and her endorsement of it was met with disapproval from many in the audience. This led to immediate backlash, with disgruntled fans booing leaving the venue, and even throwing beverages. The situation escalated to the extent that hotel management requested her to leave the premises. The incident sparked a nationwide discussion, with some defending her right to freedom of speech, while others believed she had overstepped boundaries. Despite the controversy, Ronstadt stood her ground and continued to voice her opinions on the war and other political matters that troubled her. Her strong political beliefs created conflicts within the music sector. Unlike other performers who stayed away from political discussions to appeal to a wider audience, Ronstadt openly shared her opinions. This occasionally resulted in tense connections with industry leaders and fellow artists. Some praised her bravery, while others considered her activism a hindrance to her music. There were instances when radio stations hesitated to feature her music due to concerns about negative reactions from dissenting listeners. Nevertheless, Ronstadt's undeniable talent allowed her to sustain a prosperous career. Despite the controversy surrounding her, Ronstadt's advocacy went beyond just political causes. She held a strong interest in preserving cultural traditions and supporting the rights of immigrants, often using her influence to bring attention to these important matters. With her Mexican background, she felt a personal connection to the challenges faced by immigrants. She was vocal about the achievements of Mexican Americans and dedicated herself to safeguarding traditional Latin music. One of her most popular albums, Canciones de mi Padre, paid homage to her cultural roots, and went on to become the top-selling non-English language album in American history. Despite facing opposition, not everyone approved of her strong connection to her Mexican roots. Critics argued that she was too vocal about racial and cultural matters, claiming that she shouldn't mix politics with entertainment. Still, Ronstadt refused to be silenced by the criticism, firmly believing that artists should speak out on important issues beyond their music. Outspoken beliefs occasionally diminished the recognition of her accomplishments, as certain individuals paid more attention to her political declarations rather than her musical contributions. Some admirers appreciated her straightforwardness, whereas others were put off by her viewpoints as time passed. She faced a decline in supporters who disagreed with her opinions on different matters. Yet she also attracted a devoted audience of individuals who appreciated her courage to voice her thoughts. Despite having to leave the music industry because of her Parkinson's disease, Ronstadt continued to voice her opinions on important issues. She kept speaking out in interviews and public statements, making sure her thoughts were still heard, even without her singing. Her recent comments regarding Trump showed that her fierce spirit was still intact. She remained resolute in her convictions, undeterred by any potential criticism. Ronstadt's words had a broader impact than just politics. She changed people's perceptions of artists and their significance in society by demonstrating that musicians could be agents of change. She debunked the notion that celebrities should stay impartial and illustrated the benefits and consequences of taking a stance. Despite the disagreements, Ronstadt's impact continued to be revered. She was recognized as a prominent voice in music history, with a diverse career and several awards to her name. Her influence went beyond her, music making a significant impact on both the music world and societal discussions during her era. Linda Ronstadt was always known for speaking her mind, which is what set her apart. She wasn't just a singer. She was a powerhouse who made use of her voice in various ways. Despite facing criticism, she never caved in. This unyielding nature is possibly her most significant contribution. Despite always being in the spotlight, there are still some truths about Linda Ronstadt that have been hidden for decades. What could they be? Keep watching to find out more. Linda Ronstadt's Untold Truth. The famous singer Linda Ronstadt, known for her powerful voice that captivated audiences, has experienced significant transformations in the past few years by two or one woman. She made the decision to step away from the music industry due to a deteriorating condition that robbed her of her singing capabilities. Originally thought to be Parkinson's disease, her illness was eventually determined to be progressive supranuclear palsy, an uncommon neurological ailment that impacts motor skills, coordination and communication. Ronstadt has found it difficult to adjust to life outside of the music industry after experiencing a successful career. Her battle with depression triggered by the loss of her singing ability and the significant adjustments caused by her illness has been made public over time. Her periods of being alone have prompted her to think about parts of her life that she previously kept secret. Following many years of refraining from speaking out, she is finally breaking her silence. What mystery had she hidden for such a long time? What prompted her to finally expose it? And in what way will this disclosure alter her public perception? For years, there have been rumors swirling about Ronstadt's personal life that have left fans curious and wanting answers. Finally, she is prepared to confront these long-standing rumors and provide clarity on the unanswered questions that have lingered. Perhaps this will be the revelation her fans have been anticipating all along. Linda Ronstadt is finally speaking up after being silent for so long. Will her revelations meet the public's expectations? Or will they reveal even more unexpected details before going deeper into this? Let's take a look at her romantic life to understand what led her to give up on marriage. Linda Ronstadt's love life. Linda Ronstadt, a celebrated singer from the 1970s, not only achieved immense success on the music charts and in concert venues, but also gained status as a cultural figure and object of desire. Her private life was closely examined by the media during her time in the spotlight. Even now, more than 50 years later, the talented vocalist and fashion trendsetter continues to captivate audiences with her beautiful voice and unique bohemian fashion sense. Although many men admired Ronstadt, she never married. She had several well-known relationships while she was in the spotlight in the late 60s and early 70s. Linda Ronstadt emerged in a folk scene dominated by men, and predictably formed romantic connections with some of her fellow musicians. Producer John Boylan, who collaborated on her first albums and played a key role in her rise to fame, was one of her partners in 1970. Boylan managed Ronstadt at the start of her career, but they went their separate ways. After a while, they crossed paths again in the two, and Boylan produced 2 more albums for her and resumed his role as her manager. Despite their past romantic history, they maintain a professional relationship with Boylan, still managing her today, reflecting on their romance. In 1975, Ronstadt described it as toxic and lasting. Only a few years Ronstadt dated musician J.D. Souther. After her relationship with Boylan, Souther, who unfortunately died this year, was not only a songwriter for Ronstadt, but also performed alongside her and even produced one of her albums. Additionally, Souther was a key figure in the formation of the Eagles, initially serving as Ronstadt's support band before working with them on numerous tracks, despite never becoming an official member. Remembering the beginning of their romance, Souther recounted that he had suggested she make him dinner, to which she had agreed, and exchanged phone numbers upon visiting her home. She prepared a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for him, which ultimately made him fall head over heels in love. The following day, he proposed that they gather her belongings, as she was going to move in with him. During the late 1980s, Ronstadt was romantically involved with Aaron Neville, a fellow musician she collaborated with on several successful songs. Entertainment Weekly dubbed them as the most prominent couple in the pop music industry in her professional journey. Ronstadt's love life was often the subject of speculation, with connections to notable figures like Mick Jagger and Robert Plant, causing a lot of gossip. Distinguishing truth from exaggeration in these romantic stories can be challenging. Ronstadt ended her relationship with Souther, and later started seeing comedian, actor, and director Albert Brooks, whom she praised as the most kind-hearted individual she had ever met. Ronstadt had a preference for men with a sense of humor, going on several dates with Steve Martin in the early 1970s. Martin remembered feeling intimidated by her, and she once asked him if he dated girls without intentions of sleeping with them. In the 1980s, she was briefly involved with Bill Murray, and also dated Jim Carrey, before he became a household name. Carrey reminisced about their 8-month relationship, describing her as an amazing individual. Ronstadt's most prominent non-musical connection was with the governor of California, and 1976 Democratic presidential candidate Jerry Brown. Their unexpected bond as a musician and a politician, both successful in their respective fields, attracted significant media attention and resulted in frequent coverage and photography. Some individuals found it curious that Ronstadt was in a relationship with a politician, but she saw it as a refreshing change from her usual rocker. Companions, according to her, she enjoyed her time with Jerry Brown and described him as intelligent, humorous, and committed to a healthy lifestyle, devoid of substance misuse. She noted that his disciplined approach to life stood out from the typical men in the music industry, providing her with a sense of relief. During the 1980s, Ronstadt was romantically involved with Star Wars director George Lucas. Although they made efforts to keep their relationship under wraps and stayed out of the public eye together, they were together for a considerable 5-year period, even becoming engaged at one point before deciding to call it off. Despite their silence on the matter, reports surfaced in 1984 that one of Ronstadt's associates had allegedly mentioned that their time together would be exhilarating, but ultimately end in heartbreak for Lucas, as she moved on to another relationship. What was Ronstadt's reason for not getting married? And why has she spoken up about it now? Why? Linda Ronstadt never married, despite having experienced almost tying the knot in her enduring relationships with Brown, who believed that being hitched to a famous person could hurt his presidential aspirations. And Lucas Ronstadt never officially married, and is recognized for embracing her independence as a single woman in a Dilly 113 interview. Ronstadt shared her views on relationships, stating that she saw a trend towards consecutive monogamous relationships in society, which she had experienced plenty of. She expressed being somewhat monogamous in a consecutive manner, but lacked the ability to make the necessary compromises for long-lasting relationships. Ronstadt admired the institution of marriage, but did not believe it was the only path to happiness. She believed there were various ways to find emotional support in life, whether through family, friends, or even a reliable roommate, without needing a romantic partner. Ronstadt mentioned that she realized this early on and focused on her singing career rather than pursuing marriage in 2019. Ronstadt revealed that she did not believe she was suited for marriage, mentioning that despite dreaming of being married, she felt too young at the age of 45. She jokingly acknowledged that this may have indicated her immaturity. The following year, she provided an instance of how her reluctance to compromise made her unsuitable for marriage. she described her lack of ability to negotiate, mentioning that if she desired a pink sofa and her partner did not, she would not consider any other option. She declared that she preferred the pink sofa. This demonstrated her resolve to understand her preferences and challenge traditional norms. Even though Ronstadt never tied the knot, she did experience motherhood through adopting her daughter Mary in 1990 and her son Carlos in 1994. She confessed that after spending years on the road, she desired to provide her children with a humble lifestyle. Furthermore, she disclosed that her daughter was unaware of her English singing prowess until she turned 6, as she had only heard her singing in Spanish during the late 1980s. Ronstadt made the decision to leave Los Angeles after residing there for 3 decades. She expressed feeling a lack of belonging in Southern California. Ronstadt mentioned feeling stifled by the city, struggling to breathe the air and navigate the congested freeways. She did not resonate with the values of glamour, wealth, and influence that Los Angeles embodied by 1990. 70. Ronstadt had sold her San Francisco residence and relocated to her hometown of Tucson, Arizona, to focus on her children. Although she later returned to San Francisco, she still maintained a home in Tucson in recognition of Ronstadt's impact. The Martin Guitar Company introduced a special edition acoustic guitar called the Linda Ronstadt Limited Edition in 2. The 009 proceeds from the sales of this signature guitar were designated to go to the Land Institute by Ronstadt. Her autobiography, Simple Dreams, a musical memoir, was released by Simon & Schuster in 2013, along with the Spanish version Sueños Sencillos Memorios, Musicales, in August of 2013. Ronstadt made public her diagnosis with Parkinson's disease, which caused her to lose her ability to sing. Because of the muscle control, she had lost a common symptom among those with the disease. The diagnosis came 8 months before she announced it, and originally she thought the symptoms she was feeling were due to the aftermath of shoulder surgery and a tick bite towards the end of 2. No 19 News surfaced that her doctors had changed their diagnosis to progressive supranuclear palsy, a degenerative condition often thought to be Parkinson's because of the similar symptoms it produces. Today, Mary and Carlos have reached adulthood and continue to reside in proximity to their renowned mother, providing essential assistance and happiness during her struggle with progressive supranuclear palsy, the illness that ultimately led her to step down from her career in 2011. Linda Ronstadt has created a unique personal life that matches the boldness of her music through her unwavering stance on not settling and choosing to raise a child in her later years